MIDI controllers are peaked. There's nothing new. It's a commodity at this point. I'm not impressed. That's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing MIDI controller reviews on the channel, was because. All right, let's start out and let's look at what Novation just released. They just released a new MIDI controller, Launchkey MK4. I literally have not watched this video, so let's just see what they did new with it.
This is Launchkey MK4, the creative controller from Novation. This next generation of our popular keyboard range is packed with creative tools, providing everything Launchkey is known for, and so much more. Let's take a look. Launchkey delivers extensive control of all major DAWs. It also includes a collection of tools and features that open up new ways of producing and performing music. With its expressive keyboard and polyphonic aftertouch pads, you can also create your own totally unique setups with the accompanying component software. Launching rips in Ableton Live or scenes in Logic Pro is effortless with the pads, making it easier than ever to play and perform with grid-based music software. Furthermore, in Ableton Live, you can now step sequence beats, melodies, and chords directly from Launchkey's pads into the piano roll. Launchkey's creative tool collection has gone next level, with multiple chord and scale modes to help create chord progressions and make sure you're always in the right key. There are now more scales, more visual, LED screen, and even more playability. With Adventure, Explore, and Performance pads, coming up with unique chord progressions and melodic accompaniment is easier and more fun, helping you to stay in flow and avoid creative blocks. In chord map mode, there are now hundreds of chord patterns to cycle through, with 40 in every scale, selectable with the Explore option. Adventure then modifies each chord by becoming increasingly experimental, with 5 unique levels available. Performance pads, meanwhile, provide different ways of playing chords.
Okay, I think I've seen enough to kind of get a gist of that. Let's see what Arturia has released, because they released one as well, the Keylab MK3. Let's see what they released. Just in case I get copyrighted. Keylab MK3, MIDI controller, pro grade, keybed. I think I actually read on the thing, it's the exact same keybed. Pads, got 16 pads. They gave it the same interface that's kind of in their little Astro Lab thing. Okay, yeah, Ableton, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Analog Lab. Well, in fact, let's just go to the websites and we'll look at it. And I'm gonna tell you guys something. I'm gonna give you guys like a bit what my take is on these. So here is the Keylab MK3, right? They got the 49 and the 61. So they also have the Essential line. They have the Micro Lab. They have all of those different, versions of this MIDI controller in multiple forms, multiple facets. This is like their flagship one. They just released the 49 and the 61. So they don't have the 88 out yet. You know what I'm saying? Which the 88 was one of my favorite feels. It's the first time I think I played a MIDI controller and I was like, oh my God. And then I found out that the same keybed was in the Studio Logic for half the price. And I just went and bought the Studio Logic because all I wanted it for was the keys and I necessarily didn't need it for the control. So they've given, us the standard, this, that, and the other premium keys. But I watched another video from Sanjay C, and I believe he said that it was the same keybed that was in the original.
Although Arturia says this keyboard is new, it feels similar to the previous model. So if you own that one, you don't have to jump to buy this one for a brand new key feel.
The exact same keybed. They didn't change the keybed. It's the exact same keybed that was in the Keylab. So this is the non-essential. This is the flagship Keylab. You know what I'm saying? So every one of these MIDI controller companies, they kind of have the same kind of vibe. They have a function. They have like the essential version, because like you got the even Native Instruments has their like essentials. The A series, and then you have the S series, and then they have the Pro. You know what I mean? They kind of split it up that way. So Arturia has kind of done the same thing with the essentials, and then they got the the Keylab version all the way up to the 88. So it's the same kind of copy paste. M-Audio does the same thing, right? Same copy paste thing or whatever. So they give you all of that, fully featured, pro software, all of that stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Unprecedented control, even though it's the same 16 pads, faders, knobs, MIDI control, MIDI in and out, same stuff. Advanced creative features. Chord mode was I believe in scale mode, and the arpeggiator. They were all in the second, the original Keylab, and they're definitely in like the essential versions and stuff. Deep integration, closer look. Yep, they give you all of the stuff. I'm trying to get down to the software. Let's see what software we got. Here we go. Software. Ableton Live Lite, Analog Lab. You get Pro, so it's not light. The Gentleman by Native Instruments. I think they all partner together. Melodix, Loop Cloud, you know. Yep, some Native Instrument, Piano V, get a plate. That's little stuff like that. Okay, so let's go look at Novation. All right, so you got the creative controller, you got the reimagined creativity, blah, blah, blah. These are all the talking points. You got all of the different ones. They got the 37, 119, definitely good value. Mini 37, 149, 79, 209 for the 40. They don't have the 61 key yet. Okay, so just got the 49. $200, not bad. Not mad at that. That's probably about right for that, for the top tier one. Pads, knobs, LCD, chord mode, same thing as the Arturia, right? And then software, you're getting Ableton Live Lite. Let's see what else you get. You're getting the grand piano. You're getting the G4 synth stuff, which is probably like kind of like with their Heritage VST synths, emulations of classics. So this is kind of like their analog lab, analog orchestra tools, Melodix, the same thing. So you're pretty much getting the same thing. How much is the Arturia? So the Arturia is starting at like $500 though, starting at 400, going all the way up to, let's see, 499. The 61. Do they have a 61? It just says starting. They don't show the other one. Okay, so you're pretty much getting almost the same thing. There's some strings, there's a piano, there's some synths, there's Ableton Live, there's this pro version of this, a library. Over here, you're getting the same thing basically for half the price. All right, so here's my take. I'm excited to reveal something game-changing for us and for you as producers and musicians. I want to introduce to you Peculiar Sounds version 2. We've introduced standalone mode, allowing you to use it independently from any DAW. You can now blend up to 2 sounds to create rich and complex textures. We added in 2 brand new effects, the Lo-Fizer and the Mod Filter. The Lo-Fizer gives you instant lo-fi vibes with just a button, while the Mod Filter adds dynamic movement and flow to any sound you apply to. And we also added the innovative new MIDI browser that provides you with hundreds of chord progressions, melodies, and drum loop MIDI files that you can drag straight into your DAW. And as a bonus, V2 now includes Sounds Off the Block expansion for totally free, bringing the total to over 400 patches. So as you can see, Peculiar Sounds V2 is not just an update, it's a revolutionary new plugin. So make sure you check the website right now and you can get your hands on this game-changing plugin. Here's my take. MIDI controllers have peaked. We're at peak MIDI controller now. If you don't know what that means, peak means that it's become a commodity now. Your MIDI controller is pretty much the same as your printer. It's pretty much the same like as your toothbrush, as your thing. It's just a thing. None of these companies are really doing anything innovative, right? So if I go back over here to Arturia, no, this is Novation, but still the same. They got chord mode. It has an arpeggiator built in. It has an octave. You got the Ableton style pads where you can launch. You got you got 8 faders. You got 8 knobs. You got a nice key bed, right? Then you go over here to the Arturia. You got the same type of software. You're getting Ableton. You're getting a couple of other little things. You got the 8 pads. 16 pads, of course. You get the 8 faders, the 8 knobs. You get chord mode, scale mode, so on and so forth. They're pretty much the same thing, albeit different look, different key bed. Pick your flavor. Novation's key beds, they tend to be a little clicky clacky for me. I've been very kind of conscientious about that over the years. I've been very, that's not the best word. I've been very vocal. That's the word I was looking at. I've been very vocal about that over the years, that that Novation's key beds are kind of really noisy, all the way from their 88 key all the way down to their the little micro ones. You know what I'm saying? So they hadn't changed the key beds. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing different there. No, Arturia does lean more on the premium side when it comes to MIDI controllers and feel. their keys do feel, they use Fatara key beds. They tend to feel a little bit better, even down to their smaller ones. They have a different type of key bed. When the Essential series feels real good, they're not as clicky clacky. So they were good key beds. Now they said that these are the same key beds pretty much that's in these boards. They hadn't changed that. They added a couple of little new trinkets, and that's about it. And nothing that is probably really going to affect your workflow. I'm going to keep it honest with you and say what they really won't say. It's not going to really affect your workflow much outside of what any other MIDI controller is. So it boils down to which one is in your price range and which one has the feel that you like. If you wanted a more premium feel, I suggest you probably go with the Arturia if you got the budget for it, or you go with the Launchkey MK4 if you're just trying to save some money. You just need a MIDI controller. You know what I'm saying? So as I've said before, as I stated here a second ago, MIDI controllers are peaked. There's nothing new. It's a commodity at this point. I'm not impressed. That's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing MIDI controller reviews on the channel, was because I talked about them all. For one, I had talked about every freaking MIDI controller that there was. I walked in Guitar Center and I was like, yo, I started going down the line. And even last night, I was in Guitar Center last night. I was going down the line and there's only like maybe one MIDI controller in there, maybe one or two, maybe two that I actually have not talked about. Maybe two controllers that I haven't said anything about on this channel. But all of the rest of them, I have covered them. I've done 6-month reviews on them. I'm talking hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel, all about MIDI controllers. I became the MIDI controller guy in that area, right? Because I got out of the game because, one, I hated being a shield for what lack of a better words. I hated being the guy that they were sending this stuff to, and they were like, "Yo, can you?" And they want to control the narrative of how you talk about their product or whatever. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I type in Arturia Keylab MK3, right? Let's type this in. Look at what's out here. You got Bolo, the producer, and all these dope guys are dope creators. I'm not taking anything from them. I'm not even talking in their pockets or anything like that. These are all dope, the dopest of the creators in our community. But they've got videos that they've done on them. Sanjay, of course, he's got 200. That's the other one, the Essential. But, you know, here's Bolo with his review on it 3 days ago. You know what I'm saying? There he is. There's his one, because I remember seeing some of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. Like, I love Sanjay. He's one of my favorite creators in this space. But if you go to his videos, check this out, guys. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm sorry to have to mess up this. You go to his videos, watch before you buy. You know, even if I go, let's just go popular. Watch before you buy. Watch before you buy. Watch before you buy. Now, some of this is like YouTube, like thumbnails. His thumbnails are fire. But watch before you buy. If it works, it works. You know, keep doing it, right? But when he's talking about different MIDI controllers, it's pretty much like the same thing. And that was the thing that's why I got off the hamster wheel when it came to MIDI controllers, because it's like, yo, these are all the same. Like, when I found out that M Audio, like the same key bed that was in the M Audio Hammer 88 was the same key bed that was in the Kurzweil KM88 that came out. And then when I found out that the same key bed that was in the Arturia Keylab that cost $1,000, you know, 88, that was the same key bed was also in the exact same key bed was in the Studio Logic that was $499. And then it was the exact same key bed that was also in the Native Instruments S88 that was $1,200. And I'm like, these are all the same. Like, they all have the same thing: knobs, faders. They give you a little bit of softwares and trinkets. I hate to be like a Debbie Downer on it, because a lot of these things, but I think we've peaked. It's like the iPhone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the iPhone. Like, there's really not too much more they could do with the iPhone, bro. Like, let's keep it a buck. You can't tell which iPhone this is just by virtue of looking at it. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell. You don't know if this is a 12 Pro You know it's a Pro because it's got the 3 cameras, but you don't know if it's a 12, you don't know if it's a 15, you don't know if it's a 14, you don't know if it's a 13, because for the last almost 5 years, the iPhone has looked the same. And guess what? They about to put the 16 out in a couple of weeks, and it's going to look the exact same, bro. Like, it's not going to change. The only thing they're going to do is say that the camera is better than the other one. And that's about the only benefit you're going to get. They're going to tell you it's faster, but I'm like, yo, my phone, this is a 14 Pro. It's fast. Like, I'm not sitting here waiting on an app to open up. Like, it's fast. The same thing goes for MIDI controllers, boys and girls, because they're the same. No matter what you get, you're going to get the same thing pretty much. You're going to get, especially with like some of these budget ones like the Arturias, the Novations, the Keylabs, the M Audio stuff. You're going to get some pads to play some drums on. You're going to get some faders to push it on. You're going to get some knobs to pan with. You're probably not going to use any of that stuff. Just keep it honest. You're going to use your mouse and your keyboard. You're probably not going to use any of that stuff. You're not going to, let me know in the comment section if you're actually that dude that just that actually uses a MIDI controller to actually control your software. And I'm talking about like you use it never worked for me. I never was that guy. I just used it to play some sounds in. I rarely ever mixed a song from a MIDI controller. Like, never was using those faders because they weren't motorized. I was never using faders to mix. If anything, I would use them in a live environment to, like, you know, blend layers. That's a different conversation. When we're talking about in studio with the MIDI controller, that wasn't it. It's not it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a trinket. You know what I'm saying? Arpeggiator, chord mode, scale mode, are things that a lot of us don't use. Now, there are producers that legitimately that helps you, especially if you're a beginner and you're getting into it and you're trying to figure out, like, what are you doing and you don't know how to play and all of those things like that. That's a different conversation. But for the most part, these guys, I didn't even mean to play that. I don't know how I played that. Clicked on that. But these guys like this, the Novations and the Arturias, I'm at a point where I'm just like, yo, pick one. Just pick one. Because I hate to be that guy, but that's one of the reasons why I got out of MIDI controller reviews, is because they don't offer anything special anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? They really don't. I could be totally off base, but I guarantee the only thing I'm getting different from this that I wouldn't get with the original Keylab or M Audio is maybe a different key bed feel, or maybe a different but they all kind of live in the same thing. It's like a printer. They're like printers now. It's like a coffee table. It's like it's like a toothbrush. Like, just find something that's in your budget and go get it. And that's my recommendation. If it's in your budget, go get it. And I'm talking from the guy for years that was a stand for just about every one of these companies. M Audio, they would send me everything. And then I got to a point where I just started refusing stuff because I was like, number one, I hate doing these reviews like that, because you have to try to hype it up, because you want to make it exciting for your audience. Number one, I want you guys that are watching to feel like this is exciting, right? This is exciting. This new thing just came out. This is exciting. So I have to be excited about it. You know what I'm saying? And then I also have to be enthusiastic and be a good presenter so that the companies will call me back and give me the next board that comes out and give me the next thing and keep giving me free gear. That's how the game works. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know a lot of musicians and I'm sorry, not musicians, but YouTubers, you know, there are some people that are paid for this kind of stuff, and there's a whole motivation around that. And I talk to YouTubers I know some YouTubers that are doing these reviews, and they're getting paid like several $1,000s to do a review, you know, on something. You know what I'm saying? And while that's good money for them, they're very disingenuous as to their audience, because they really are doing it for to get that check. You know what I'm saying? They're really doing that for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth of the matter. That's how the game is really played. But I never was paid for any of my MIDI controller reviews. I don't think I've ever been paid a dime. They always considered the gear the payment, which I guess you give me a 700, something that you would normally sell for $700. You give it to me for free. It's like you paid me $700 for that thing, which is cool. But it also, I never wanted to take money for it, because I didn't want I always wanted to remain unobjective about my opinions about these things. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to do that. So my recommendation is, these boards look cool. If you're in the space right now where you need a MIDI controller, like you actually need a MIDI controller, like you don't have one, or the one you have is a little busted and it's time to replace it, you should take a look at both of these options, whichever fits into your budget. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Arturia is at the $500 mark. The Launchkey, I'm in the wrong window. Sorry. The Launchkey, the Arturia is in the $500 range, and then the Launchkey is gonna smack you for it goes $200, for the 49 key. I think that's what it was. So you gotta there it is. Yep, 179. If you're gonna get the 49, I think there's a 61. That's what I missed earlier. 61 is $399. All right, yeah. So yeah, you're gonna spend up to, for the 61 key, $300. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the 88 out yet. Yeah, whichever one fits into your budget is my suggestion for you guys, for these new boards to come out, because you can sit there and put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it. You can do a lot of research, but I'm going to tell you, like, most of these boards are using the same technologies. They all integrate with the DAW. You can mix from them if you want to. You can play keys on them. You got scale mode on all of them. You can launch clips in Ableton from all of them. I don't even really need to investigate any deeper than that to tell you, as a certified, I'm not certified, but as a guy that's done hundreds of MIDI controller reviews on this channel, I can tell you for a fact, it's not going to be much different than the previous year. It's just a new coat of paint, and it's the same thing repackaged in. So buy what's in your budget. That is the best advice I can give you if you need a MIDI controller right now. If you have a great MIDI controller that's working for you, that's doing the business for you, this is just a new toy. It's like the new iPhone. Does your iPhone work? Are you getting value out of it? Does your camera take good pictures? You don't need a new iPhone right now. You know what I'm saying? So if your MIDI controller is working for you, unless you just think the colors are cool or you just really want something different, go for it. You got $500 to spend on the $600 to spend on the Arturia, go for it. You know what I'm saying? If you got $300 to spend on the Novation, go for it. But I would say this as totally unbiased. I don't have the boards in hand. I don't work for the companies. They hadn't paid me anything. I'm just telling you, as a guy who has reviewed hundreds of these things, it's pretty much the same song and dance. I don't even have to watch all of the marketing to tell you that that's what it's about. So that's some value for you. I hope it helped you. I hope it blessed you. Hope it gave you some value.